talk to you again soon. Thanks. And Ralph, Janet, great work at the foundation. Congrats on all the success. And it's just getting bigger every year now.
Yes, definitely stop by the AAMI Foundation booth to fund the future of HTM. All those scholarships are so important to creating a strong pipeline. So if you'd like to contribute, there's ways to do so at the AAMI Foundation part of the AAMI booth.
And while they're in the AAMI booth, learning about the AAMI Foundation, they should learn about AAMI.
Yes, our certification, our education training, standards.
And membership. Become a new member, which segues us perfectly. Been doing this for a while.
Yeah, it's perfect segue.
What do you think of that, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Work it right in there.
To Andrew from Bayer, welcome.
Yep. Thank you.
How are you? So introduce yourself to folks. Let them know who you are.
Yeah, so hi everybody on the stream and in the convention hall. I'm Andrew Wingen. I'm Director of Regulatory Policy for Medical Devices at Bayer. I support the radiology business. Okay. And you might ask yourself, what is regulatory policy? Regulatory policy, at least the way I do it, is looking at the landscape for public policy, how it's shifting, how it's changing, thinking about what ways to engage on behalf of Bayer, on behalf of technological progress, on behalf of our patients, and working on ways to help move things forward. I just was listening to the last session about AI. Bayer's in that space, specifically the radiology business is in that space.
It's been advanced there before anything else, really.
Yeah, and super dynamic.
Right.
And to segue back to the original, original point, we became members of AAMI because there's definitely some benefit to being engaged on the standards making front as well as some of the other opportunities that AAMI has for engagement.
Well, and that's music to our ears, right? We want more people involved in standards, and that's why people join. And we're so excited to have you part of that process, to have your voice represented amongst our standards. But why don't you talk a little bit about standards and why you wanted to be involved, why you saw that need to join, and why you really wanted to be involved in the standards process?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So Bayer Radiology, we have contrast media, which is pharma, which, AAMI doesn't really touch. That's not medical instrumentation.
We do, though. It's interesting, and the convergence of where you're going with this probably.
Yeah.
And it's needed for the procedures.
It's not a perfect line, right?
Yeah, it's not a perfect line.
Yeah.
And then we also sell contrast media injectors.
Okay.
And then the corresponding software to those. So workflow solutions, things to help bring patient care, to really help to help improve it, to help expedite patient care. And along with that, we also have a couple of platforms related to artificial intelligence, so deployment of clinical applications in the radiology suites, and also for developers to develop any kind of application that
that's interesting. So you actually have a platform that other folks are using to develop solutions.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's the scope of things that we're focused on. And I think, for maybe a larger medical device company or one that has a broader portfolio of things, they're like, oh yeah, AAMI standards, you can go to all these different standards making groups, whether it's biocompatibility, sterilization, some of the healthcare technology management, which is really you put the onus and focus of that here at this show. Right. There's so much to be a part of. And to your question, why be involved? So standards are really key for a variety of reasons. You want those standards to ensure that the technology is good quality. For the medical device fields, those standards can get recognition by regulatory bodies, FDA, EU competent authorities, just looking globally, that's important. And then finally, it's good to be part of those conversations with industry peers to understand, okay, what are your thoughts on this new thing that's happening? Or, hey, we need a new standard because there's this patient safety signal out there that, there's something that's maybe not quite as compatible as we thought it was, or maybe the technology's changed a little bit, or practice of medicine has changed a little bit, so we have to look at things again. So it's one part of that conversation that also it's the ecology of considerations from different stakeholders,
Right.
and yeah, it's a great venue for that.
One of the ways I'm sorry, go ahead, Danielle.
I was going to say from the HTM perspective, contrast injectors are very high-end modalities. Our technicians are very specially trained to handle those, and they're very critical in the hospital because, as most people here probably know, if the injector does not work, you cannot do the case because they need the contrast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you do, even though you said it's not a big breath, like maybe like a GE Healthcare or something, like it is so critical to patient care.
Criticality, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And I was just going to comment on your comment about sort of standards, but also being a part of the conversation. Really, standards are the part of the glacier that's above the water. That's when you've gotten to consensus. That's when you've arrived at best practice, if you will, across a very broad group of stakeholders. But it's all the work that's going on under the water to create that.
To get there.
Because that's not always there initially. And so when you've got organizations like yours involved, it's a chance not just to, a lot of people say, well, we need to keep up with standards. It's not about keeping up with standards. It's about being a part of the creation of those standards, which you have to be there in the early parts of the conversation, not just interact, once the document's far along or even complete.
And if that deeming authority that you talked about adopts a standard and it totally doesn't match what you do, then you're in trouble, right? So that's why it's so important to be involved and have a voice because, if it's myopic in the sense that you only have a couple people working on it and they're just writing it to their practices and it doesn't really represent the broader community and how they do something, then that can become problematic downstream.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because just to expound on that point, like if you're not conforming with the standard and you have to, provide lots of justification why you're not doing that.
Right.
I mean, you can do that, but it's a much...
But it's a lot
tougher
more,
mountain to scale for sure.
It's a longer path to market, which means it's a longer path to the patient.
Yeah,
and we want to get these devices and technologies to the patient. So.
And just one more to expand upon, that's absolutely true. But unless that standard gets adopted into law, and sometimes they do. So if it does, then there is no way around the way it's written. So
sometimes
that's why it's so critical.
Yep. Incorporation by reference. We won't go down that rabbit hole.
We won't
right
go
now.
right now, but
thing.
it can
we
happen.
Express no opinion on that for those that are listening.
But the people at the stream are like, nope.
Well, we don't lobby.
We don't lobby.
We don't advocate. Our mission, as you know, is
safe and effective use of health technology.
Exactly. Quicker than me on the draw. That
was almost a jinx.
No,
that happens a lot sometimes.
We're good at that. Yeah, exactly. So I have a more fundamental and maybe more light question. How did you know about AAMI? How did you come to know us?
Yeah. So being in regulatory. So before I was in regulatory policy, I was in regulatory strategy, which involved getting either updates to portfolio products to the market or new products to the market. And I've been at Bayer for 3.5 years. Before that, I was at 3M Healthcare, now Solventum. And I started my career actually in crop biotechnology regulation, so genetically modified crops, which is kind of like its own Wild West sort of regulatory landscape, or at least it was at the time. But reference to standards, I mean, that's something that's core to a regulatory submission dossier. So it's like, oh yeah, AAMI's doing this. And then also my time at 3M Healthcare, like there's a lot of involvement on the sterilization side because that was one of the portfolios that 3M had at the time. So yeah,
so you've known about us a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Well, this is a two-way conversation, so I'm going to throw something at you now that I hope will be helpful. I want you to look at AAMI Nexus. John's probably already talked to you about our VP of membership when you joined, but that's going to be a great place for you guys to get involved as well, because that's really where we do bring manufacturing entities, regulators from around the world, not just FDA, but globally together to talk about exactly what you're talking about. What are those issues that we need to convene around now, which eventually will lead to standards, usually, not always. There's some things that's not the right tool, but it usually comes into play. So anyway, Nexus is going to be, I hope we see you there in Virginia in the spring. But anything else you want to share with folks about AAMI or about Bayer? You talked a little bit about your service lines, the things you do.
We do have a booth here. It's booth 3126.
3126.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely go visit them.
Yeah. Visit them.
Very
good. Thank you for supporting our show.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to come by for sure.
Yeah, we'll stop by after once we get out of here.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Very good. Very good. There. Well, we'll see you there, and we certainly thank you and thank everyone at Bayer for supporting this new membership, and we look forward to many years of productive collaboration.
Yes, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. We'll see you. Say the booth number again.
3126.
3126. All right. We'll see you there.
All right.
Thank you
great.
so much.
Thank you.